Howdy ho, you handsome hunk. Grab a snack and gain some chunk. If your day is great or really sunk, we hope to help you shake the funk. So if you're good to hear some junk, buckle up, it's the Junk Monk Podcast. Hello and welcome to the Junk Monk Podcast. I'm your host Kandyce Sloan, who you know from Instagram at Hardens and Hard Hats.
And I'm Noah, your co-host, who you know from at Noel Hernandez.
If this is your first time listening, let us fill you in. We are watching and reviewing every episode of the USA hit TV show Monk right here each week.
And we're going to do so while eating a little bit of junk. So, me and Candace got our junk food here. Candace?
Which is, we have Flaming Hot Funyuns.
Have you had those before?
Oh, I love Flaming Hot Funyuns. Okay. I love, because we talked about this last week, right?
Yeah.
That I love Flaming Hot. I like the puff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Noah was going to surprise me because they had some puff in the pantry. And then he was like, oh, the puffs are gone. And I was like, that's because they're the best. That's what I said. And then we also have a nice bag of cold, delicious.
I'm not eating that, by the way.
Burger King chicken nuggets.
I'm not eating that. I'm not eating that.
They're actually Toby's.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Even more disgusting.
I thought you would say, then I'll eat one. We always like to steal from Toby. Also, you must know I've seen every episode of Monk. I'm a huge fan, started watching in 2007, and for the most part watched it as it aired.
I've seen season 1 and those we've done on the show, and a few scattered here and there in different seasons.
So, if you're ready to start the show, Toby, put down the nuggets and take it away.
Here's what happened.
Alright guys, this is Mr. Monk is Underwater, Season 7, Episode 5. So here's what happened. In the opening scene, we see a naval crew on board a U.S. submarine. It appears that no one can seem to find the second-in-command officer, Lieutenant Pierce. His cabin is locked from the inside, and as members of the crew approach his room, they hear a gunshot. They bust in to find Pierce dead of an apparent suicide. Next, we see one of the officers on that sub, Stephen Albright, seeking out his old friend Natalie and inquiring about Mr. Monk's services. He's convinced that his commanding officer didn't end his own life and wants Monk on the case. When they finally convince Monk to board the vessel, an emergency drill causes him to be stuck on the submarine for days. With the case being his only distraction, besides Dr. Bell, his suspicions quickly land on Nathan Whitaker, the first commanding officer on board. Monk found a homemade silencer in his cabin, which could have been used on Pierce. Further investigation reveals that Whitaker did have a motive when Monk finds out about a recent incident in which the submarine had crashed into a mountain on the commander's watch. The accident ended up killing one of the men on board, which, if found liable, would be a career-ending mistake for Whitaker. It turns out that he had convinced Pierce to help him cover it up, but when Pierce had second thoughts, Whitaker set up the suicide by killing him with his makeshift silencer and setting up a slow-diffusing firecracker inside the locked cabin. Of course, Monk figures this all out, and after a brush with death by submersion thanks to Whitaker, Monk and Natalie are saved, and the commander takes his final salute.
Good job, Candace.
All right, that was Mr. Monk is Underwater.
Candace, what did I like about this episode? Thanks for asking, Noah. Okay, Natalie knows where the line is drawn in this episode. She lets Monk go on the ship for like 3 minutes. She's like, oh, come on, you can do it, Mr. Monk. Which, I mean, it's good to get him out of his comfort zone. But once they're like, okay, you're going to be there for like, how long was it? Like 5 days?
Yeah.
She's like freaking out like he can't do this, blah, blah, blah. And she steps up for Monk. She's like, I am a taxpayer. I control you. It was so funny. And, I mean, she was wrong, right? But I'm so glad that she stepped up for Monk and really had the line drawn and knows where Monk's limits are.
That is a great first like. I don't even know if I have that as a dislike because I don't think I even wrote that down
At all?
Yeah, if I had to have at first thought written that down, I would have thought, I can't believe Natalie made him get on that submarine. Mm-hmm. But I love the very first thing you said was that it's good that she makes him get out of his comfort zone. And then, oh crap, mistake. Yeah. And I remember when he calls her, he's like, Monk is introducing Natalie and he's like, this is my former assistant, Natalie.
I didn't notice that the first time.
I was like, exactly, terrible assistant. And I honestly don't think I even wrote that down. Nothing about Natalie. But yeah, I like that. You literally changed my mind about something I didn't even no need to be changed. So I liked it. Okay, I put another amazing Dr. Bell session.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can give Dr. Bell the credit because he wasn't actually there.
Well, at the end, Dr. Bell's like, he just slides it under the rug as if he did all the work.
That's so true. He does. I was gonna say he does a really good job of realizing that. Yep, Monk had a psychotic break because he's like, you were there, and he's like, yes, I was there, but remind me, and he's like, it just happened. It's like, is it like a little blurry in your mind or something? It's crazy how the mind works. And Dr. Bell's like, yes, it is. It's so good. But yeah, their very first talk, right? Because Monk, camera's just pointed at Monk and he's like, I'm so glad that you're here. I wouldn't be able to do this without you. I'm so glad that, I'm so glad you're here. And then it shows Dr. Bell and pans over and he's like, I can't believe that right before the
it's like some crazy miracle.
Right before the top closed, I jumped on board. I'm so lucky I was able to do that. And Monk's like, yeah. And they keep talking. And of course, most of the conversation is one-sided. And sometimes we see Dr. Bell there. And we see him, saying, he's like, you're basically like a hero. And he's like, well, I have to be strong for Natalie. She's just a girl. And then it doesn't show Dr. Bell anymore. And Monk's talking to himself. And he's like, what, Medal of Honor? I mean, really? I don't know about that. Oh, man. It's so funny. It's so funny.
I did like how Dr. Bell was, like, taking the credit for it because it was pretty funny. But also, does Monk have schizophrenia? Okay, my next is, I actually wrote down my theory from the beginning.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, so, Lieutenant Steven planned it all from the beginning.
I was totally thinking about asking you if you thought he was the guy.
I thought he was the guy for sure.
Oh, I'm so glad you're saying this. Okay, go ahead.
Lieutenant Stevens planned it from the beginning, the suicide and getting Monk. Why would he get Adrian Monk, world famous detective, you ask? For one reason, an alibi. Why would the murderer bring the best detective to his crime scene? Steven knew about his terrible fears and knew he wouldn't be able to solve it immediately. And so he was going to get Monk on for 3 minutes, blah, blah, blah. But he wasn't planning for Monk to stay on for a few days. And that's how I thought Monk would solve it. He'd be on for a few days and figure it out.
Wow.
Which it's not terrible, right? He wasn't planning for Monk to be there the entire time.
Yeah. Wow.
I can write
I swear,
this.
we need to do a fanfic episode where we write something. We're so good at it. We're so good. I can't handle it. Okay. Back to the Dr. Bell hallucination thing. I honestly, if I had to think of a top cringe moment, and not a top very, very top, but in a top list of cringe moments, I've always not liked Dr. Bell, the hallucination part. But when I started watching this, I realized that this was the comic relief in the episode, and that I really liked it, and I thought it was hilarious, and I've totally changed my mind about it. And I don't know how to explain it, because just because I guess time, as growing up, growing older, whereas when I was younger and watching this, whatever, in high school, I guess, just thinking oh my gosh, this is really kind of scary. It's kind of scary, kind of sad that he's seeing this guy that's obviously not there, and it also kind of confusing. Wait, did he get, you know what I mean? Because it's did he get on the ship? He's joking, right? I can't tell. But I just have to say, I completely changed my mind about the whole hallucination. I love it. It was so funny whenever they're talking on the phone and he gives Randy the phone and Randy's just sitting there and can I talk to somebody else? It's just, I liked the comic relief and I like Dr. Bell too. So it's I changed my mind about it. And so that's all I'll say. I like it.
I have a quote actually, and it's Monk. And he's just on the boat, and he says, I think he killed himself. And he's like, why? Because I've been on this boat for 15 seconds and I'm suicidal.
Yep.
Monk, what? Not everyone's that afraid of boats.
I'll get into that.
Oh, what?
Yeah. I probably should have said this first because I like saying this one first, but Natalie hair was on fire.
Oh my gosh.
And as soon as I was like, oh my gosh, look at that hair. And then I said, and now we know why. And she opens it, and then Steven's there at the door. And obviously this is Mitch's oldest friend. And I thought it was really cute. I think I caught this only on the second time around. Whenever she's like, oh my gosh, and she like jumps into his arms, and he's like, oh wow, I thought you wouldn't remember me. And she's like, I don't. I just like a man in uniform. Because we know Natalie loves a man in uniform, so she got her hair all did up and all that.
Monk coping. I was proud of Monk. Okay, it might not be the best way to cope, but he was coping. Like, he wasn't freaking out. Like, this episode reminded me a ton of The Bank. And that's not particularly because, them getting stuck, almost dying, blah, blah, blah. And Monk's just along with Dr. Bell.
And Natalie even said, whenever she was doing that, I'm a taxpayer or whatever, and she was saying, I'm surprised he's even lasting this long. I was like, yeah, me too. Obviously, but, he could have easily, I say easily, the whole episode probably would have been a lot worse, but he could have been gravel.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. So, yeah, that's so true. I like whenever they're getting on the submarine and, Monk's like, where's the rest of it? And he's like, it's a submarine. It's under the water. And he's like, you said it was a boat. You said boat. And he's like, yeah, we basically call it a boat because, And Monk is like, I'm sorry, are you familiar with the word float? And then, what does he also say? When he gets on the boat, everyone's saluting him. And he's like, Natalie, nobody's shaking hands. Everyone's just saluting. Maybe I should enlist. And she's like, no, Mr. Monk, don't even joke about that. And he's like, why not? She's like, because I love America. And then they're trying to convince him to get on the boat. And she's like, 3 minutes, 180 seconds, that's it. And she's like, what can happen in 3 minutes? Asphyxiation, cerebral hypoxia, gas embolism, Epstein-Barr. He's like, well, you know more about this stuff than I do. Yep. 180 seconds, famous last words.
Okay, Monk showing Dr. Bell everything that he knows about the case. Because Natalie and Stevens are just watching, and Monk is at the table talking to Dr. Bell. And he's, showing him the bottle, and he's like, is this gunpowder? And he's like, yeah, it's gunpowder. And he's like, we make a good team, Dr. Bell.
Oh, my gosh. All those little things are so funny. Oh, man. Whenever Randy's on the phone with Dr. Bell, or, with Monk, I guess.
Quote-unquote Dr. Bell.
Yeah, quote-unquote Dr. Bell. But whenever Randy's talking to Monk, he's like, where are you? And he's like, I'm on a submarine. And he's like, no, really? And he's like, no, I'm on a submarine. We're underwater. Periscope depth, water temp 46 degrees, speed 50 knots, relative barrier 259er. Monk is reading off all the little things or whatever he's looking, and Randy's like, whoa, what the heck? It reminded me whenever he's on the airplane and Mr. Monk is on, on the plane or whatever. And Randy's like, wait, are you really up there in a plane? And he's like, it's better than being up here, not in an airplane. I was like, very true, very true. It reminded me of that, so I thought that was funny.
Okay, this is my last one, Kandyce.
Okay.
Roman Catholic Jack Pierce. The man who dies.
Uh-huh.
He's Roman Catholic.
Oh, really? Oh, what did it... In what context? What did they say?
Okay, so Randy's snooping around with the family, and all the family swears that the guy couldn't kill himself because he was a Roman Catholic.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Right.
All right.
I'm a Roman Catholic, so me and Pierce were twinning.
Twinning.
Look at us.
Well, he's dead, but yeah.
Did you just say I was going to die, Candace?
What? No, I'm saying you're not twinning because I can see how you thought that. Okay. Yeah. All right. I think I have two more. The first one is we have 2 mentions of the Davenports. Okay.
Toothpaste.
Julie's at Camp Grandma first.
Oh, I didn't catch that one.
And then when when they're trying to get, Natalie is like, I'm a taxpayer, I'm your boss, whatever. Monk is like, okay, how much do you want? And he's like, what? And she's like, her family's loaded. Her dad's loaded. He can totally pay you however much you want. Have you ever heard of Davenport toothpaste? It's the one with the girl who's, and he does this. I guess a commercial or something. And he's it's the one with the girl who's
he sticks his pinkies up into his gum.
Yeah. Timestamp 1247. It is so funny. Just go to 1247 and pause and you'll see him. It's the girl that's like this.
I thought you were going to talk about whenever Albright, Stephen Albright, is like getting Natalie all ready to go to bed, blah, 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 showing her around. And he's like, okay, here's your pillow, blah, 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 your toothbrush. Oh, and your toothpaste. Davenport, of course. I thought you were going to talk about that.
Oh, that's true. And then he's like, does it fold out? He's like, no, that's it. He's like, oh, okay. Does it fold out? It's like, nope, it doesn't. That's all that there is. All right. Well, I'm just going to fold it out and then go to bed. You're just going to want to get in it. It's not going to fold out. So that was funny. Okay, I also have, we haven't had one of these in a long time. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but a bad A monk moment. Whenever he goes up to the captain, or the commander, and he's like super confident. And and the commander even calls him delusional, which is funny because he is. And he's like, I'm having a hard time on the submarine, but the last thing that I am about this case is delusional. And then he like points at Dr. Bell and he's like, tell him. It's really funny. But he really does like, because I was like, he did go toe to toe with the genius, but he was very like insecure about that case. And
he was very confident.
He was very confident about this one, and I thought it was different than the genius, and I feel like we haven't seen, because like, what have we had, the lottery guy, like the takes a punch, no, like the bad guy in that one was the guy, the deodorant, the Brad Garrett and the buys a house, no, we haven't seen Monk go like tell somebody off like that. That was very like astronaut vibes, where he's like, you're the guy. And even in that one, he's super insecure about the astronaut too. He's like, he's better than me or whatever. He's a hero. He doesn't let this commander get to him. So I really liked that. And then my last thing was that Dr. Bell actually saved the day. Because whenever the guy tricks them into writing, he writes that note.
Oh, yeah,
and then Monk drops it behind him. Because he thinks it's Dr. Bell. And then he goes in there and then Stephen walks by and sees the note on the ground. I was like, technically, Stephen is the one that found the note. But the reason that he dropped it, if Dr. Bell wasn't there on the ship, then Monk wouldn't have dropped that.
Yeah, like, that's such a good idea. Like...
No, that's a really good idea.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah. Because otherwise he wouldn't have known he was in there.
That's so smart.
Because he noticed him missing, but he wouldn't have known that they were in that. Right in front of that. It was right there in front of the door. So, yeah, I thought that was interesting. All right, and then this was going to be my final thing, but you already said it. I was going to say, and I thought, well, okay, if he says no, we can easily transition into dislikes. So, did we like Steve?
Oh, no, I did not like Steve.
Okay, what happened? Why not?
I hate Stephen Albright with fashion. He is a Walmart Mitch, I'll say it.
What?
And
he's a great value Mitch.
He has a little guilty kiss with Natalie. They're probably gonna date, and I don't like it, because at the very end he's like, next time we come to shore, we'll smooch.
Yeah, but also, when's the next time he's gonna come to shore?
I hope never, Kandyce. So.
Okay, I put no more leper. Oh, sad.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like that's the last. Well, wasn't that 2 seasons ago?
Yeah, I miss him.
He never came back. I'm like, I guess that guy's out the window.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, the first thing was super easy. As soon as this episode started, I was like, I feel claustrophobic watching this.
Really?
Yes. I was like dying. I was like, okay, you have to get over it. Like, they're just acting. Okay, this is the thing. Is that whenever...
You idiot. It looked like a set the entire time. That's a dislike of mine.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? No,
like
okay. Whenever people are holding their breath, or they're underwater, or they smell something bad, I do that without realizing it.
I do that for funsies though. Whenever someone goes underwater in like a movie, I'll be like, how long can I do it?
Yeah, no, I do it on accident, and I don't realize that I'm not breathing until I can't breathe. And it's really weird. Like, especially like
that is really weird.
Like, especially whenever they're like, it's like usually like a crime scene show when they're talking about like a dead body smells really, really bad. Like, I don't want to smell it, so I hold my breath and then realize, like, they've gone through, like, a few scenes, and I'm like, I'm breathing through my mouth. Mm-hmm. And so I can breathe through my mouth for a while, and then I realize I'm doing that, but it kind of messes with my breathing a little bit. So that makes me, like, the claustrophobia is, like, compounded on top of, like, not breathing properly. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, like, forget that they're on a boat. Like, act like they're on a set. Like, obviously, my next thing is that obviously didn't look like a boat.
Yes.
But when
my gosh.
But when they were on the boat, I felt like they were on the boat, and I couldn't handle it. I couldn't. Okay, hang on. No windows.
You're stupid.
No windows in the boat.
You're not allowed to talk anymore.
4 to 5 days underwater. I was stressed out whenever he said 3 minutes, and then they said 4 to 5 days, and I was like, ah! I literally gasped. I cannot handle 4 to 5 days.
I remember you gasping. I was half asleep, and I remember you gasping, which is my next dislike.
Then they said sea turbulence. The whole thing is like, blah, and he's like, oh, just a bit of sea turbulence, and I'm like, turbulence underwater. And then they're like, oh yeah, it wasn't as bad as when we hit a mountain. You hit a mountain? I was like so monk level. I was like, are you kidding me? Now I'm rethinking my crazy scale, because if it was me,
okay, I get the hit a mountain part.
Nope.
But I don't get you going. I felt like so underwater, but my next is that it didn't feel like I was underwater.
No. My next one is the CGI of the top of the boat was bad.
Really? Because the inside of the boat looked like just a bunch of buttons, and that's it.
I didn't think so.
It literally
I thought it looked good. I thought the inside of the boat looked fine.
No.
I'm picturing it, and I don't like it.
It looked like...
I feel like I'm underwater again.
I thought you meant because it looks bad.
I don't like it.
I don't like it. Well, we both don't like it, okay? Because I don't like it because it looks like it isn't underwater, and you don't like it because it looks like it is underwater.
Like we're disagreeing on our dislikes, where we both dislike the same thing. No, you dislike it for the wrong reason. Yeah.
Okay. This episode was so boring. I'm sorry. I fell asleep 4 times while watching this, by the way.
I will say the first time you were tired before, and I was like, Noah, you look really tired. Don't lay down. And he laid down and went. So he was tired the first time around. So yeah, I could see that. Since you said that, I guess I'll go ahead and say it. I have like mixed feelings about this episode, because they kept mentioning NCIS, which is another TV show, like, you know, like the organization NCIS. So I felt like this was like an episode of that almost. Like, it felt so different.
Yeah.
That it felt like dramatic, like more dramatic than not like a good dramatic like The Jury Duty or like On the Run. Mm-hmm. Not like that kind of dramatic, just like the submarine itself being in one set the whole time felt different. And then the romance scenes, like there was like 2 pretty long romance scenes with Natalie and Steven, and it just felt like a totally different show. Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily know if I didn't like that or did like it. Because you know how like Mr. Monk is up all night? You're like, oh my gosh, I felt fever dream. I really liked that. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't really like that though. I could see how you like it. And a lot of people love that episode because of that reason. But this one is like, feels like the same for me, as in it felt different and not a necessarily bad way. It just felt different. Like it felt like an episode of NCIS, like not an episode of Monk. So I don't know. I'm torn about it, as you can tell. But I'll do another one. The commander obviously is a total jerk. He's like, permission to come aboard. And he's like, you're already on board. He's like, but permission to like come in your room. And he's like, permission denied. It's like, okay. Funny, though. And then whenever Monk is going toe to toe with him, he's like, on land, I'm just another officer. But on this boat, I am the Lord thy God. I am Jehovah. I was like, dude, calm yourself. Jeez and rice.
What?
And then as if Monk hasn't gone through enough, this psycho tries to drown him in this room.
Oh, yeah.
As if he's not going to get caught doing that. Yeah, Monk and Natalie just stumbled upon an empty room just to stand there for a few minutes and then have the door shut behind them. I was like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I will say, though, that at the end when he's, like, saluting him, I don't know if you saw that part.
Yeah, I did.
Where he's, like, salutes him.
Or at least I read it.
And when he salutes him, it's, like, one of those, like, the nod from the astronaut.
Like a good game. Like
yeah. I did give him that at the end because it was, like, respect. He showed respect.
Yeah, that's always a cool thing. Like,
yeah. Like, I tried.
It's like a
a
checkmate or something like that.
Yep, you got me.
Okay. Don't worry, Steven. You can treat Mr. Monk like a real person. Those are the very beginning.
Okay, I didn't write that down. I was going to write that down, and I was like, to me, that's more of just a confusing line. Why would you say that?
And no. And then Monk, like, does look at the camera.
He looks at her.
Or, yeah, not at the camera. Like, he's like, wait, what? I was really mad.
Well, I just didn't understand, like, that joke. That joke didn't make any sense to Steven.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if he was obviously talking about, like, I don't know how to talk to a detective. I'm nervous. And she's like, you can talk to him like you talk to a normal person. And it's like, that's only funny to us because we know Monk isn't a normal person. But if you said that to Steven, he would be like, what?
Yeah.
I don't get,
I mean, I guess
it was like
I guess it's a two-sided joke because for us, he's crazy, but for him, it's like...
What's a two-sided joke? Because Monk took it as that, too. Yeah. The same way.
And then for him, he's like, oh, because I'm the detective, and I can just talk normally.
Okay, I guess it wasn't that bad of a joke, but it was also rude. So, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Okay, this one's easy. 0%. Not like, oh, no Natalie action. 0% Captain action. He wasn't even in the episode.
That's true.
What the heck?
Is something going on, Kandyce? On set, do you know?
I do not know.
Don't pull a Natalie. Guess what? She's been pregnant for the last season. Like what?
Ted Levine. Super pregnant in season 7, guys. You don't even know. Behind the scenes, I know everything. No, but honestly, I felt like the Randy action was forced. So I'm assuming that they just didn't need the captain. They didn't need either of their characters, but just did one. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know what goes into that type of decision, but...
Randy, that's true. Randy being in it was super forced.
Yeah.
Like, let me call Randy. Like, and then, like... Do you remember that Randy with the girl?
Okay, timestamp. 16 minutes, 5 seconds. Random Randy flirt. The camera's cutting to him, like, to start his scene. And then this woman who's, like, doesn't look like a detective or a secretary, really. She's sitting at a desk just like his, across from his. She's got, like, a black shirt on with a white collar, like, popping out. It's just like a sweater. Mm-hmm. It's very, like, not cop-like whatsoever. And Randy's, like, smiling, and she's, like, smiling, like, looking at him. That has to be, like, somebody's relative on set. Because that woman was, like, she was totally out of place. Yeah. She was not an actress. We should look up who that is. I wonder if we would be able to know who that is and then look at her last name and see if she's, like, you know, if her last name is, like, Conrad or Dratch or Breckman or something. Mm-hmm. Guys, this lady was rando. Yeah. She was very random, and it stood out. And it's funny because I put not necessarily a dislike, but who is she? This is Randy's girlfriend in the next episode.
I know, right?
We totally diss her and her acting abilities, and they're like, they get married next episode.
Let's see.
We might have to look up on IMDb. She might just not pop up on an X-ray. Oh, you did?
Look, they got Passing Taylor 2, but not her. And Passing Taylor 1.
Passing Sailor? I'm telling you, she's not an actress then. She's not an actress. Why wouldn't she? If they have Passing Sailor on their credits, there's no way. That's somebody's relative. Yeah. That's funny. I only have one more dislike.
Oh, wait, no, I have 3. Okay, I'll do Natalie's Guilty Kiss, and then also Very Boring Crime, in my opinion. I did like the silencer, ping, 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 but we also didn't get that revealed until the very, very end.
No, I think that was towards the beginning, wasn't it? Because when Monk goes into the commander's office,
Oh,
he finds
yeah,
the bottle.
yeah.
It was like in the middle.
Okay, yeah, but still. That was probably the coolest thing, and it wasn't even that cool.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And
I totally agree with that.
I was also, okay, so on the summaries, Candace, I was telling you that I was reading the summary because I got the last, 15 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, at the bottom of it, it shows, little, weird things that, happen on set.
Like errors and stuff?
Kind of.
Trivia?
Yeah, stuff like goofs is what they call it. The gun Whitaker uses to kill Jason Pierce is a Walther P-38. Real Navy officers actually utilize Beretta 92 FS guns at their sidearms. However, the P-38 was probably chosen because it would be easier to thread a cream soda bottle onto the short barrel. Isn't that such a weird detail?
Yeah.
They're like, actually, no, that barrel wouldn't actually fit, so...
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's well, yeah.
So much
It's kind
effort.
of forcing it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. Okay, my last thing is actually the conversation between Natalie and Steven about their possible romance, okay? So follow me with this, okay? Because I was rewatching it again, and I was trying to think, do I like Steven? Do I not like Steven? Let me watch this again with some fresh eyes. Okay, they're talking, and Steven says, have you ever thought about what it would be like
if you didn't meet
if
Mitch.
you
If you met me before Mitch.
And then Natalie says, I did meet you first. And so I'm thinking, oh, so she's saying I did meet you first and we still didn't end up together.
Yeah.
Because I love Mitch. And then she says, no, and no. Natalie says, you were with your fiance.
Yeah. Jelly.
Implying that he was off limits. So that if Mitch wasn't there, maybe they would have been together because he was off limits. And so I was like, wow, Natalie. I was like, what about Mitch? This is where Julie gets her flirty Julie.
Oh, he's on the swim team, but he just sits at the bench. Coach rarely puts him in.
Yeah, Mitch, yeah, I did meet you first, but you had a fiance, so Mitch was cool, though.
I know. That does suck.
Which, again, doesn't really have anything to do with Steven, though.
It's bad enough that, you're... Not bad enough. I'm okay with her going after the leopard, blah, 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 but Mitch's best friend, that's not cool. That's, messed up. IMO, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, it's honestly a tricky situation because it seems messed up, but then also, that happens so much in real life. It's crazy.
They're so alike.
Because they're close,
Yeah.
They're similar, and then it's if you can't be with me because I'm dead, I'm glad that you're with this person. That's how some people see that.
That is not how I would... If I died and I had a girlfriend, I would not let her be my best friend.
You would have so much say over it. It's crazy.
I know. I'll come back from the dead are you kidding me?
You haunt them in the middle of their kiss.
What are you doing?
Are you kidding me?
Okay. Bank vibes. I already said that. But bank vibes, but worse. It was a worse episode than Bank.
Yeah, uh-huh.
But bank vibes.
What did
Bank
I
was
say?
good.
What episode did I compare it to?
Airplane.
Yeah, I think so. Just, I don't know, because that's what I'm saying. It doesn't feel like another Monk episode. It feels like an episode of NCIS. It feels like a different show. So, yeah. Okay, well, we're done with dislikes. Let's move on to...
Okay. He's the guy.
Okay. Who do you have for He's the Guy, Noah? Take it away.
Why he's the guy for this episode was Noah Hernandez from the junkmonkpodcast.
Okay, I have no one either.
I recognize...
So...
Really?
No,
Oh my...
Well,
I was about to celebrate. I was so happy, Candace. We were equals for a second.
Okay. Well, no, I don't have anyone, but I have some, built up stuff here. So
okay.
I've got, Family Feud. I watched Celebrity Family Feud.
Okay.
I saw Gary Cole on there from Mr. Monk and the Playboy.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. And then also Angela Kinsey was on there.
Aww.
Her and Jenna Fisher went on there, and they were the office ladies. I guess they had some of their staffers with them.
Uh-huh.
And so they played against a guy from Scandal who totally reminds me of the guy of Stephen Albright. It's funny. But they totally played against him, and then they won, and then Angela and Jenna played Fast Money, and then they won $20,000. That was pretty cool.
Wow.
And then also, we haven't talked about watching The Weakest Link, have we?
Never know. Yeah.
We haven't talked about that, right?
When
we were hanging out a few weeks ago, and we watched like Elf and Hocus Pocus and stuff, we also were like addicted to Weakest Link. Mm-hmm. And who hosts that now is Jane Lynch.
Yeah.
From Mr. Monk Gets Married. She's the counselor.
Oh my gosh.
She's like, when she's talking to Monk and Sharona, and she's like, I want you to give each other the biggest kiss, and I want everything that you mean to each other to be in that one kiss. Go ahead. And then she does all the like, I noticed that your wife Sharona is sleeping in a tent on the ground, and your late wife Trudy has a place of honor on the mantle. And Sharona's in a pup tent on the floor. It's so funny. But yeah, so we watched The Weakest Link. Super fun show. I highly recommend watching it. The questions are pretty easy. I mean, Noah gets them.
No,
Toby.
up.
Toby gets them.
That was really mean.
I'm just kidding. Okay, I'll cut that.
No. Keep it in.
Okay. So Toby is so dumb he gets the questions. And but yeah, if you don't know, Weakest Link is a remake of an old well, it's a remake. It is The Weakest Link. But it had
the Weakest Link.
Goodbye. Of this British lady, and she's really funny, and she's like super mean and treats people like they're stupid, and it's hilarious. But Jane Lynch does it, and she looks almost just like that lady, so it's like a really good like doppelganger like takeover version. And then also Jane Lynch hosts the celebrity game show, which I actually enjoy. I don't like it as much as The Weakest Link, but the celebrity game show is like where they have different like random celebrities. So like you guaranteed are like to know one person because they have like 10 on there at a time. Mm-hmm. And they split them into 2 teams and they go against each other, and they do all this like crazy fun like word games and all this kind of stuff, and then they play for charity and stuff. So that's really cool. She hosts that. And then the last thing is Jane Lynch was also on an episode of Psych, the one that I'm watching right now, and she is a commander, actually.
Okay.
Another coincidence on the ocean. And her name is Barbara Dunlap, and she's actually the chief's sister.
That's cool.
Yeah. Because I was like, it's like I literally watched like the first like minute of this episode, and they're both on the boat, and the chief and Jane Lynch are like going at it and yelling at each other, like, oh, and then they mention like, yeah, we're sisters or something, and then you're like, oh, what? No way. So yeah, that's the episode called There Might Be Blood, and I believe I'm still in season 3. So I watch the beginnings of a lot of Psychs because I watch it when I go to sleep after I'm done editing Monk, and sometimes it's just so late that I'm like, and pass out. So I'm like on a lot of episodes.
Hello.
I can't see.
That's not my mother.
Yeah, that's Toby. Mr. Toby is at our service. He just brought us some food for junk time. Okay, Noah's already stuffing his face, so there's that.
We have fettuccine alfredo pasta, Texas toast, and a little sandwich. It's like a slider, but with ham and bacon. This is really nice.
All right, so the first thing for junk time, I actually wanted to do a little correction. It wasn't something I said on air, but I was mistaken. I thought that this episode, Mr. Monk is Underwater, was adapted from that Lost episode called Mr. Monk is at Sea, which Hi Conrad told us about during the interview. Mm-hmm. He told us this, so duh, but he adapted that into his own book, Mr. Monk on Board, or Mr. Monk's on Board. Like that. So for some reason, because me and Lindsay were messaging back and forth about this, and she was trying to tell me that, and I was totally wrong. I was way off. I was like, I think it's an adaptation of like this episode. Like this is the Lost episode. Mm-hmm. Because I was getting confused because the episode guide that I have, that we use on that Did You Know episode, that only went up through season 4. Yeah. So whenever they were calling it like a Lost episode, I was like, oh, well, they're going to make this in the future. Yeah. So I thought that episode was that episode in the future. I was wrong. So if all of that nonsense made sense, I just wanted to clarify that in case I ever said it or told anybody else that. But yeah, my first question is, would you ever go on a submarine?
Yes. Yes.
And
You would not.
And I wouldn't, no. But in an operating one, like, what would be the longest you would want to go?
Why would I go into a non-operating one?
No, I mean, like, well, because anyone would, like, I don't know, a Titanic museum, you're going on the ship. Like, okay, of course I would, like, go on, like, I would go on the boat to, like, look around, but I don't want to, like, go sail on the boat for 3 days. How long would you go on the submarine?
Okay. I would go on a submarine, which in general you would not.
No.
If it was in the water.
Even if it was a museum on top.
I wouldn't want to stay in there for like 3 days. Actually, 3 days wouldn't be that bad. 2 days. 2 days tops. But I'd have to do some like training. No, but it's not like I'm in a solitary place. So yeah, I'd be fine. That's just me.
Why are there no windows on a submarine?
What? Are you stupid?
I just want to make sure I have the right answer.
Because the pressure? The tons of water?
That can't be it.
That has to be it.
I thought it was because it was pitch black down there. So why would you need windows?
Hey Siri, why aren't there windows on submarines?
Because wouldn't it be creepy as crap to be underwater anyway? Even if you could see what was under there. But I don't think you can see what's under there unless you were shining a light. And then, guys. I'm like with Mr. Monk here. I have a fear of the ocean, of the vastness of the ocean.
I have a fear of the ocean.
Even when I'm standing at the beach and everyone else is like relaxed and like looking out at it, it creeps me out so bad. Yeah. I can't imagine being underneath it. I can't imagine being underneath it, but then being underneath it and being able to see out little windows. What if you saw like a freaking whale or something? I don't know.
I hate swimming like too far. Like I have no idea how people go like super far.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, too dark. No reason for it. And then also pressure. We were both right.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because it's too dangerous and useless.
Okay. I just thought like
It says research and commercial submarines typically do have windows.
Okay, that makes sense for research. Yeah. As a commercial, like I'm on a cruise going around looking at sea life underneath the water, that's super creepy and I would never do that.
We're just talking about random stuff.
We are. My next question was just going to be, have you ever been on a cruise? Or would you like to go on a cruise? Would you like to go on a cruise?
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. I don't know. Cruises are rich people thing. You've been on a cruise.
No, they're not. Cruises aren't rich people things. Cruises actually can be really inexpensive. And you get to go... Don't roll your eyes at me.
I'll roll them again.
No, it really doesn't cost that much. And it's like an all-inclusive trip. What's cool about cruises is that you get to go... Like, because people compare them to, like, all-inclusive resorts. Like, I went to, like, Sandals, Jamaica or whatever, and I stayed there for a week, and all my drinks and my food were all paid for, and they had, like, you know, arcade or whatever, you get all these things. On a cruise, it's the same thing, except for you are actually traveling while you're doing that. So instead of, like, I went to Sandals, Jamaica, and I just stayed on the same beach in Jamaica for 5 days... You get to do the same thing, hang out on the boat, eat all you want, drink all you want, play all you want. And then the next day, for a few hours, you get to go to Mexico. Then you get to go to the Bahamas. Then you get to go to Key West. Then you get to go somewhere else. So that's what's cool about going on a cruise. With that being said, I probably won't ever go on a cruise again because the second time I went, I was extremely seasick. And so now I'm traumatized by it. But most people do fine.
My mom gets super seasick, so we're not going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what sucks. Like when we first moved out on the second cruise, when we first got out there, there was people like, I heard people like calling their, like, they're gonna have to bring a helicopter over here because I cannot stand on this boat anymore. I guess I don't know if it was like choppy when we first left or something, because I think everybody calmed down afterwards, but I was not having it. But yeah, cruises are fun though. I actually went on my first cruise when I graduated from high school. My mom bought me and my best friend a trip. So me and my best friend and my mom and my aunt all went on a cruise. It was fun. We went to Cozumel, Mexico. When we got there, we were like rented a Jeep and we drove around the coast and all around the island. It was super fun. And like me and my best friend, we were both 18. So we were allowed to play and gamble in the casino. And then we were allowed to go to the club. What? And so we went to the club and then we were like dancing and like, oh my gosh, we're so mature and we're so old. And then some guy hit on my best friend and we were like, okay, we're out. We're like, we're not that mature. We're not that mature. And we left. But yeah, it was a lot of fun though. Yeah. All right, that's it for junk time. Plot holes
plus crazy moments.
What? Were you being serious right there?
I actually was.
Plot holes plus crazy moments.
Plus debunks.
Plus debunks.
What was that? Sounded like the, what's it called? And Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Oh. I don't know. Okay. My first plot hole is they don't care that a civilian is on board during their like naval-wide emergency drill. They don't care that there's 2 civilians on board. And then they don't care whenever 2 civilians go missing on their ship. Like, nobody's supposed to be watching them? Okay, they're on here. You know what I mean? That's usually how those types of storylines go. Like, okay, they're here, but don't leave them alone. Like, you better keep watch of them. Because my next plot hole is Monk wasn't going to push any of those buttons. They totally did not even go with that. All those like blinking buttons all around him, he totally should have pushed those. But that made me think like, somebody better be watching him to make sure that he doesn't like trying to make something even or trying to like level something out. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel like that's Natalie's job.
But like none of his like OCD. Well, yeah, but they obviously didn't even care or understand. She left Monk alone all the time. He was like eating lunch with those guys by himself.
That's true.
Yeah, no. There was nobody watching him. So, I don't know. I thought that was weird.
Well, mine was that there's no way that the guy didn't kill himself.
What?
Mine said, because it's not that there's no way that the guy didn't kill himself, but I thought my plot was that, like, what is there not to believe? He walked in, closed the door, locked the door, shot himself in the head. You heard the gunshots. You found him. What is there not to believe here?
That there was nothing wrong with him. Like, there was no reason for him.
I get that.
It wasn't like he wasn't depressed. It wasn't this. Like.
But that's what, like, everyone says.
Well, it's true. Well, they're not always right either, but, yeah.
And Monk does that, too. He's like, okay, fine, I'll go on there for a second. And then he has his eyes closed.
And then she's like, Mr. Monk, you're not even looking. He's like, I'm squinting so I can see better.
And he kicks him.
She does. I had to replay that. I thought she spanked him. She was like, Mr. Monk. And I was like, whoa. And then I backed it up 10 seconds. She didn't spank him. But it was pretty close, guys. It was pretty close. Okay, my next one is, and you almost alluded to this when I asked you if you'd go on a submarine. You said, like, I would have, like, training. I was thinking, do you not get sick if you aren't trained to, like, go in a submarine and go underneath the water, like, that many feet? Isn't there, like, pressure or something? Like, you know how people, like, train to go into space and they're, like, they have to go in, like, simulators and all this kind of stuff. Like, I don't know. That was my first reaction. Like, do they not get sick? Like, do you not have to train to be?
You definitely do. So,
I feel like that's an okay one. And then this one's a very, very weak plot hole, but it was just kind of like, that's interesting because I'm pretty sure Mitch was like a helicopter pilot. I feel like they said before, like his plane got shot down or something. I thought that's how he died. Well, my plot hole was just that.
Here, I'm gonna look up how did Mitch from Monk die, and then you're gonna have to look at the answers.
Okay. Because I just thought it was interesting that like he was a helicopter pilot and he was on a submarine. Like, where'd these guys meet? But it could be in training, I guess. He was shot down in the Kosovo War. He ran away from the crash site and abandoned his men before he was killed by enemy forces. Like, I think they say that in Natalie and Mr. Monk in the election. He was a pilot for the U.S. Navy. He was shot down in the Kosovo War. The Navy told Natalie that there is evidence that Mitch ran away from the crash site and abandoned his men before he was killed by enemy forces in Mr. Monk and the Election. Natalie isn't sure what to believe, as she was always certain that her husband was a brave man.
So he was a pilot.
Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah, because they met. Because remember, he's like... Because she was like, oh, yeah, it was New Year's Eve, summer 1984.
Yeah. That's why I figured like maybe they were in training or they, at some point, maybe he was a helicopter pilot.
I thought they went to like high school or something.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Actually, no. I thought that Mitch was part of the Navy.
Okay.
Oopsies.
He was in the Navy. He was just a Navy helicopter pilot. Is that not a thing?
Navy Sea?
Okay, that's what
I've always been
what
taught
I thought.
Navy Sea.
I know, right? That's confusing. Okay, we don't know what we're talking about. Let's just move on.
Really
Okay,
don't.
so I also put Natalie is like, it's just like an island. You like islands, right? It's like we're going to Hawaii. And I was like, why would Monk like islands? Like, he hates water. How would he ever get to an island if he doesn't want to go on a boat, in the water, over the water, in a plane? Where would she get this idea that he likes islands?
I figured out what Navy pilots do.
Okay.
They're literally just pilots, but they're on a carrier.
Oh, that makes sense. So they're on a ship. They're helicopters on a ship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Navy pilots do exist, but we still don't know if he was a Navy pilot or not.
He was a Navy pilot, for sure. That's what it said. They were both in the Navy. 1,000%.
Okay.
Mitch was not in the Army. He was not in the... Oh, Marines. They're in the water. But he was...
Navy's in the water. Marines do stuff.
The Coast Guards definitely do stuff. Okay.
That's why I know that the Navy's in the water, because they're the only people I know about. And I don't even know about
Navy
them.
SEALs. They're in the water. SEALs. Okay, anyway, so I don't think Monk would like islands. So I know there is a book where he goes to Hawaii. So maybe does he like Hawaii? I doubt it. Somebody let me know if you've read the book. Okay. I also have Monk says he doesn't know how to swim. Does he know how to swim or not? Because I feel like in Mr. Monk and the Private Eye, he says he learned how to swim via correspondence school. So he gets his little card out.
Ah, yes.
But in this one, he says, I don't know how to swim. I took lessons once, but it wasn't in the water. So I feel like, I don't know if that's what they were talking about. Like, I took lessons once, I wasn't in the water, so it's correspondence school, or they're talking about two totally different, like it's a plausible, I feel like. Because he says he does.
I say it's a callback.
Okay. I could see that, but I feel like in Private Eye, he says that he knows how to swim. He just needs his little paper. And this one, he says he doesn't know how to swim. So, yeah, that was it.
I don't get why he needs his paper. Did we talk about that whenever we did it? Because he's, like, photographic memory.
Oh, yeah. I think you might have said that. Yeah. I think you did.
He doesn't need to remember it. So
I think you said that, actually.
I probably did.
Okay, do you have any more?
I do not.
Okay, this one to me is a big one. So, actually follow me on this one. Okay.
Okay.
I'm missing the timeline here, okay? So, Steven goes to Monk's house and says, we're only at port for one day. Could you please come check out the ship?
Yes.
He brings them immediately there. She's like, let me get my purse. They immediately go there. Monk doesn't want to do it. They're like, Mr. Monk, just 3 minutes. Okay? Then they take him down there, and then emergency drill. Monk gets stuck on the boat. They all have to leave now. No exceptions. Okay. But they were at port. So what if Steven didn't even, like, get there? What if they had spent, like, 20 more minutes hanging out at Monk's house? You're telling me Steven wouldn't have been anywhere near that boat, near the submarine, and they would have just left without him? Why would you start an emergency drill when you're at port? And the men weren't even, like, Steven was not even required to be on the ship at that time. He was literally, they were talking, he went out, he was talking to Monk, they just happened to be going there at that time, and then they're...
I'm sure it's like an attendance thing. And he's like, okay. Steven's here. Okay.
Oh.
Okay, everyone should be on the boat. Look around port for a bit. Okay. Emergency drill. And then boom. But then that wouldn't make sense because he would know that there were civilians.
That's true. That is true. Also, he was saying the first in command, he was saying that it was a, like, what's it called? Not nationwide, but whatever wide drill. So, like, it wasn't, I don't think he did it. I don't think Commander Whitaker called for the emergency thing. He did call for the fake one that was supposed to cover up the guy's murder.
Yeah.
He called for that one because that's why Monk was like, that's kind of weird. Have you ever had 2 emergency drills that close to each other? And he's like, no, we haven't. That's weird because Whitaker called the first one, but he didn't call the second one. Again, why is the Navy calling emergency things when they're like at port? You know what I mean? Like if there's an actual emergency, you can't control if someone's at port. But a drill, you would know if your ship was in the water or not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, because you wouldn't practice without everyone there. I mean, I guess that would be pretty good practice. Like,
but again,
okay, we're going to
talking
act like this person's on here.
But we're talking like minutes. Like, there was no like urgency. Like, hey, Mr. Monk, we're actually leaving right now, so I need you to check it before we take off. Mm-hmm. It was an emergency. Nobody knew it was going to happen.
He was just chilling and like...
He was totally chilling at their house, and there was no... Yeah. I feel like that's a pretty big one.
They were literally 3 minutes off. Literally, oh, I forgot my keys. Or I forgot my anything.
Yeah.
I gotta go back. Oh.
And Steven wouldn't have been at the sub. Yeah.
Submarine.
All right. How crazy was Monk this episode?
Plus crazy moments. What?
Did I say it too early?
No.
Oh.
It was just that you started smiling, and so I started smiling.
Oh, I think I said how first.
Okay, ready?
Okay. How crazy was Monk this episode?
Plus crazy moments. Don't say it. It's fine.
Now you know how I feel at the beginning whenever you're like, hello, I'm
okay,
Noah.
Fine, then I get to do the next one.
What? No, we're not doing that.
Yeah, you just stole it from me.
No, I didn't.
Ha ha.
That's not our deal.
That's true.
That's not our deal, though.
That's our deal.
There you go. And sometimes I have to say it because you forget to say it, and then you make me say all the crazy moments.
Today, because you always have a little space, and today you didn't, and it was like
so you couldn't steal it.
It was like 0.5 seconds.
Yeah, so you couldn't steal it. That's why I do that now. You made me do that. Yeah, exactly. I rest my case. Okay, out of 10, what?
Out of 10. Men in uniform.
I did out of 10 sexy book grabs.
He's grabbing the Sun Tzu Art of War off the shelf.
He's like, oh, it's not over here. Oh, let me check over here. Oh, let me check over you, Natalie. And he's like, oh, dang, bad news. And she's like, oh, you didn't find it? He's like, I know. I did. Got him. Okay, do you have any crazy moments?
Kandyce.
Think of some.
Would this be junkmonkpodcast if I had crazy moments? That's what I thought.
Okay, he was pretty crazy, so
That's
can you
true.
think of anything off the top of your head?
Yes.
Okay, what?
Dr. Bean, and he was... No, I know his name's Dr. Bell. I'm messing with you. Dr. Bell, him hallucinating.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, and then him... being afraid of submarines because, like, if you are afraid of submarines, you're, like, stupid or something. Getting seasick. If you get seasick, you're also stupid. His name's Kandyce.
Is this how stupid was Monk this episode? Or how crazy?
I just wanted to be mean to you because I can't think of it.
Okay. So he keeps fiddling with the vacuum at the beginning.
That is really
like,
funny.
and she's like, okay, that's enough. Okay. He says he can't today because it's a boat. He's a boat suicidal. He's squinting to see better. He sees Dr. Bell. Does it fold out? It's the Pacific Ocean. Ocean in my pants. He wants to take turns panicking. Because Natalie's like, Mr. Monk, it's not going to help if we both panic. And he's like, okay, we'll take turns. I'll go first. Dr. Bell! And then Natalie starts saying Dr. Bell. Dr. Bell, Dr. Bell. Wait, what am I saying? It's not there. He doesn't think he knows how to drown. He says that. And then the last one is he won't take the air straw. At the end, she's like, practice doing it. And he's like, and she's like, Mr. Monk, not now. And then they're underwater, and Natalie's like legit using it to live. And then Monk's like, it's so funny. So yeah, out of 10 uniformed men, what are you giving Monk?
I'm giving Monk a 9 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah,
10.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking about, because a lot of things, I'll keep it at a 10 because he straight up is hallucinating Dr. Bell. Because, like, I mean, you know how not a fan of submarines I am at this point. And so I'm not saying I would act much different than that, but I don't know if I'd hallucinate a therapist. So I'm going to give him 10 sexy book grabs. I'm doing it. All right, final segment.
Rate this episode.
That was a good one.
I know.
That was really good. Okay. Not a terrible episode.
Really?
But not the most memorable either. I felt the comedy and the storyline were both just okay. But I don't think there was anything inherently bad about this episode. I mean, maybe you'll have something in your description, but I couldn't think of anything that was like, I hated this episode because of this. So I'm just going to go with just below average with a 10.65.
10.65?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm so glad we're on the same page here.
Okay.
I give it a 6.
Okay.
We're...
Okay, that's pretty good. 6.25? That's going to be good. I feel like that's decent enough for this episode.
That is decent.
I was really talking about it with Toby. I was telling him, because he doesn't like to listen to the show sometimes. So I'm like, Toby, 7 is like my average. I feel like I don't feel like it was average. I feel like it was less than average.
Yeah.
But I also can't think of anything. And he said, yeah, I feel like the comedy was like secondary. The crime was even secondary. It felt like to Toby, he said that it was about Natalie.
Yeah.
And
no, it wasn't even about Natalie. It was about nobody. There was no point in this episode. I hated it. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, but yeah, that's what he said. It seemed like it was about Natalie. Like they wanted Natalie to meet this guy so that they made some storyline about how they could be hanging out or something. I don't know.
A lot like last episode where they were like setting up him being buff. I said that last episode where I was like, this seems like a reason for him to be able to run later.
Yeah. Yeah, or something. Yeah. So yeah, that's what Toby said. He didn't give it a rating, but we agreed because I was kind of going back and forth. I was like, is it like 7 or like a 6.5? And I was like, maybe it's like a 6.75. And I was like, no, I don't think it's, no. 6.5 is fine.
Yeah.
I think. Because that's lower than the buys a house and lower than takes a punch. So I think it was worse than that.
Agreed.
So, all right. Jolly good show, people.
Jolly good show.
Guys, we're coming up on our anniversary.
I know.
Wait, will this episode air? What did I say before? This episode will air. This is the episode that should air like right at our anniversary. About January 4th, this should be coming out, and our very first episode ever aired January 4th. That's interesting. Oh, you know what? I don't think the first episode I posted on a Monk Day. I think it was a Tuesday.
Yeah, I don't know why I remember that, but it was definitely on a Tuesday.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Because I remember us going, dude, Monk Day? Like Monday?
We are so cool and clever, yeah. But, yeah, so this actually... Maybe I should have said that at the beginning. But now you know. Happy anniversary to us.
Yay!
Woo! I mean,
a whole year.
Granted, I don't know when you're listening to this episode, so it could be like...
If you're listening to it a day late, then that's perfect.
I was thinking more like they're listening to it like 7 years from now. And we're like, happy anniversary, guys. This is the exact day. And then it's like...
It's 2027.
Yeah. That's weird to think about. 2027.
That sounds like future. Beep, boop, bop, boop.
That's so weird because when it turned 2020 that I would never say 2020. I thought I was going to say like, now I'm going to say 2020. And then now I realize like how much of a mouthful that is. And like nobody says 2020.
That's 2020.
Yeah. Like the year 2019, 2018, 2017, the year 2014. Like, I mean, people do say like, people do say that. Yeah, people do say that, but it's not like weird to say. I got married in 2014.
I've never noticed that people say those interchangeably. Like, literally, my life thought about that.
I literally say, we're saying literally. I literally say literally too much. No, but if someone says, when did you graduate? 2010. I don't say 2010. I never say 2010.
Okay, well, 2010 doesn't make sense.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because you're not going to go, when are you born? 2007. Like, what?
No, that's literally what I started off saying.
No. You were saying, like, 2014, which is what I say. Not 2014.
Yeah, when did I graduate college? 2014. I don't say 2014. I don't say that.
I say for the teens, 2014.
But I don't. That's my point. I do not say 2014.
Okay.
I graduated college in 2014. I don't say that. I say 2014.
I'm over it.
Okay, Noah's over it.
I'm over it.
So, guys, be on the lookout. We're gonna do... This is our, like, actual anniversary, but we got something big planned.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Our, like... It's like our... like we're sharing a little anniversary with Monk here. We have our 100th episode... Not our 100th episode, but Monk's 100th episode coming up. So, we're gonna do a little combination... jam-packed episode for you guys, and hope you're excited. Mm-hmm. We're gonna work on that now, and we'll get that ready for you guys coming up in a couple weeks. So we will see you next time for episode 6 of season 7, and yeah,
it's called Mr. Monk Dies. It's not called that.
I'm so excited. Can't wait to see.
Mr. Monk and Sharona Comes Back is what it's called. Everyone, get ready. Watch it and watch the next episode. Kandyce, I never thought about it, but people binge this show so we can acknowledge it. Hey, bingers. I don't like that.
I also don't like that.
Okay.
I concur.
I'm done.
Okay.
Adios. Bye, everyone. Thank you for watching. No, I always say that. Thank you for listening, and I love you. Goodbye.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Junk Monk Podcast. We'd love to hear from you, so please give us a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, follow us at Junk Monk Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
If you want to know more about Kandyce, she's at Hardens and Hardhats on Instagram. And if you want to know more about me, Noah L., subscribe to my vlog, Noah Hernandez, on YouTube. Also, you can leave us a voicemail at 323-366-0477 with your questions, comments, or just to show us some love.
Don't forget to catch up on Monk with Amazon Prime Video, and of course, subscribe to our show.
You'll thank me later.